I am no longer on a weight loss journey. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Weight of Things. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey, and if you are new here, please take the time to click the subscribe button below as well as the bell so that you can get notified of every time that I create a new video. Well guys, it feels like it's been forever since I made a video, and I'm about to get into why and what I have been up to. But before I do, I just want to thank you all for being a part of my journey. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Those of you who have been here since the very beginning of time, and those of you that are new, I thank you all so much. As I said, I feels like I've been away for a while, but it's only been a little bit over a week. But even in that time, you still supported me, and I've received new support, and so I'm so thankful for all of you. Now, with that being said, why you are actually here is to talk about what has been going on with my journey, and that is that I am no longer on a weight loss journey. Now, does that mean that I no longer want to lose weight? I definitely do. However, my mindset about that and my reasonings for that has changed. And I think that if you were to have asked me a few months ago, like why I want to lose weight, I would say that it was because I wanted to be more healthy and stuff like that. But I feel like if that really was the case, then even when I did like the 1 meal a day for those 30 days, I think I would have been eating more healthier things, and not eating more healthier things thinking about a day where I'm going to be able to cheat and going back to eating things that I know are not good for me. But I would actually have wanted to be healthy. I would have actually looked into my health a little bit more and what was good for me, what was good for my body, and made that like the focus of my journey. However, I feel like a lot of my journey to lose weight was all about the number on the scale, and also a lot about the way that I felt about how I looked. Not so much that I cared so much about what other people thought about how I looked, but I really had a problem with how I looked myself, and I felt really down about the way that I looked. And I think that my goal and my plan for my weight loss journey was just because I wanted to feel good about the way that I looked. It was all about the numbers. It was all about the way that I looked. As much as I would have said that it was about health and wellness, I don't really feel so much now looking back that it was. And so basically I have spent the last few weeks really researching and wanting to find out, and what drove me to that is just thinking about like the vast amount of medication that people are taking for all these different things, like, you know, for diabetes, for high blood pressure, for cholesterol, for thyroid issue, all these different things. And I really started to think about like foods and the cause that, you know, some of the things that we eat may have on our bodies, why we have some of these sicknesses, and just thinking to myself about people that are on medication for like long term and sometimes even forever, and just thinking like as I'm getting older, I don't really want to be for that to be the case, and especially not because of my own choices, because I ate a certain way, or I didn't work out, or I didn't take care of my body the way that I should, and because of that I am on medication for the rest of my life. Now, if you've been on this channel for a while, you already know that I struggled with things to do with my leg, and so that was a huge thing. It's been almost 2 years now. In October it'll be 2 years since I had the incident with my leg, and I still have pain, like chronic pain, a lot. And I know for sure when I've gone to physiotherapists and stuff, they've told me that it's inflamed. And so I started to really look about like inflammation and foods, and I feel like there are foods that cause things that are not good, but there's definitely foods that I believe that are on the earth that God created that actually do good things. I believe that food can be medicine. I believe that food was created to be medicine. So I really started to look into health, like, you know, 100%, instead of like, I didn't even care at that point about losing weight. I wanted to learn about health, and I figured to myself that, okay, if I focus on health, the weight loss will come. But if I focus on weight loss, then what's the end goal? Okay, I get to my weight loss. I've done that before. I've been on a weight loss journey. I've lost over 100 pounds. Great, kudos to me. And then what? I gained it all back because that was the end result. The end result was losing weight. And so once I lost the weight, I just went back to doing the things that I did initially, and eating unhealthy and doing things that were not good for my body, because my end goal was met. And so I don't want this to be something that I have like a set end goal. Like I want to lose this amount of weight and that is my goal, because what comes after that? I really want this to be a lifestyle. And so I really wanted to learn about health and how to take care of my body and how to nourish my body with things that are good for it. And so I really just started to look into things, and I started to look into foods that cause inflammation in your body. And I found like a lot of them, and I'll list some of them that, like, you know, are very inflammatory foods, and they may not be for everybody, but this is the whole thing, is I went on this whole journey about learning about my body. And so what I did was I kind of removed certain foods that I knew were, you know, had the reputation of causing inflammation, and kind of started to see how my body felt. I think for as long as I can remember, I've always ate rice, pasta, or potatoes for dinner. Like, for me, a dinner is not, you know, finished without like the side, like, which has to be rice, you know, pasta or potatoes. And when I would see like shows where people were eating salads for dinner, I'm like, yeah, so that must be appetizer. Like, where is your rice? Where is everything else? And like, I think that society has put these things in our mind about what a meal actually has to look like. Like, when you think about breakfast, you think about eggs, you know, and then sometimes people will say like, oh, I'm having, you know, breakfast for dinner or something. And it's like, but who says that eggs have to be for breakfast? Like, you know, why does your dinner that has eggs have to be breakfast? Like, who made up all these rules that we can't have salad for breakfast and all these different things? So I just basically started to go on a whole health journey and like learning about different foods and how they affect us. And one of the biggest things that I learned about was how our hormones actually can affect our weight loss, and also weight gain. And I started to learn about hormones such as cortisol, which I thought was just about being stressed out, but I had no idea that cortisol has a huge impact on weight and on weight gain and on a lot of other health issues. And I didn't know that your cortisol levels are very much affected by the things that you eat, including other hormones such as leptin, which is your hormone that tells you when you are full. And I didn't know, again, that hormone is affected by how you eat and what you eat, and estrogen and testosterone, I believe, and a vast other amount of hormones. I think there's like 5 or 6 of them that are directly related to your weight and your health, and also directly related to what you eat and don't eat. And so I started to really study those hormones and try to figure out how to like regulate my hormones in a proper way through food, without having to take any medication, but through food, trying to eat my way to being healthy. And as I said, like, during this time, like, it was so far from my mind about trying to lose weight. My mind was really on, firstly, that I wanted to make my legs stop hurting, you know, and I wanted to, you know, cut foods that were going to cause inflammation. And then as I started studying more, I wanted to see how different foods started to affect me, you know, and cutting out certain foods, how they would affect me. I started to try to listen to my body and learn and figure out what my body needs, because everybody's body is different. And so the way that something may affect me may not affect you in that way. And so it was a whole journey of me really just trying to figure out my body and trying to figure out what my body needs to be properly nourished, what my body does not like. Because oftentimes, you know, it's so funny how things work. It's kind of like, you know, the good girl always wanting the bad boy that's not good for her. That's how it is with food. Oftentimes the foods that we love are the ones that are not good for us. And there was a lot of signs as I started to do studying, the things that would happen to our body that I would have all the time, and continuously still eat those foods because I just love them so much. And so I would just not even care about how my body was feeling or how it was impacting me and my health. And I just wanted to stop that. Like, I just started researching a lot about foods and how they were affecting my body. And so the things that I essentially did cut out was I cut out red meat, and basically, and alcohol. And I'm not like a heavy drinker, but I do like to drink once in a while. And again, I'm not saying that I'm never going to have these things, but I cut them out for a little bit because I wanted to see how I felt not having them, so that when I do have them again, and I have, then I can see like how I feel, to know if this is something that affects me, and so I can moderate and be able to make wise decisions about how much I should consume a certain thing, knowing how it affects me. So I cut out red meat and alcohol first, and I did that, and you know what, like I actually felt really good because I didn't actually realize it, but red meat makes me feel really heavy and it makes me extremely gassy, and I did not realize that until I cut it out, and then one day accidentally ate it because I was trying to do it for a certain amount of time. One day I accidentally ate it and my stomach was just like, I felt so heavy, I felt so just not well, and I realized that, yeah, like red meat, I love steak, and I'm not gonna cut out steak, but I realized that it may be something that I need to cut down on. So that's just something I'm mindful of now, that this is something that affects my body in a negative way, and I need to cut down on that. You know, and then I went into cutting out refined carbs. I don't want to do keto. I think that, like for me, I love carbohydrates, and I think that there are fast burning, as far as my research, there's fast burning carbohydrates and slow burning carbohydrates, and the fast burning ones are obviously not the best for you. Those are the refined carbohydrates, but slow burning carbohydrates that you get from vegetables are okay and good for you. And so I am not cutting them out. I was eating that and I felt so good, and realized again how I would feel now, how I feel now versus how I used to feel when I was eating rice and potatoes and, you know, pastas every single day. And so basically that's just what I did. I started to work my way through and started to eat in a way to fuel myself. And I always thought like eating healthy meant that like, oh, I'm not going to enjoy my food, it's going to be so gross, but it's not at all. I was able to find really delicious recipes that I loved, and you know, my plates were so vibrantly like colorful, and I felt good and I felt full. And that was one of the main things that I realized doing this, is that I learned a lot. I learned stuff about like leaky gut syndrome. I learned a lot about how certain foods that you eat can make your leptin levels go wacky to the point that you don't feel full, which causes binge eating and stuff like that. And so when I started to do these sort of resetting my hormones, I realized that my leptin levels, I feel like, are now leveled, because now I can eat an amount and I literally feel full. Whereas before I would kind of feel full, but I felt like I could still eat, so I would still eat. But now it's like I'm full, and it's like I've lost my appetite. Like I don't want any more. I can't eat anymore. And not to the point that I'm stuffed. I'm comfortable, but it's like I don't want it anymore. And so I'm like, yay, like this is working. I am finally learning my body. I'm finally discovering things that work for me and things that don't. So I would strongly suggest and recommend everybody to take the time to figure out about your body and what works for it. I also did a lot of other things during this time, like going for a lot of walks. I was doing my 2 mile a day. I kind of stopped for a while. And again, I wasn't necessarily doing 2 miles a day, but I started like going for walks. I started to have like, you know, baths with, you know, Epsom salt and music and candle, and like kind of just setting that whole atmosphere, and not for like romance because my husband wasn't there, but like to kind of settle my own body, like relax for the day, get myself prepared for bed, you know, and prepared for that time of relaxation. And I spent a lot of time in prayer. I spent a lot of time like, you know, just spiritually doing things like, you know, speaking to God, and then also working out my physical being, and really like realizing how I got to the point where I was. And like, I don't know if you've noticed this, but I've never actually said my weight on this channel. You'll probably realize in the videos now when you watch them that I would often say, oh, I lost this amount of pounds, but I've never actually said my weight. And there's a reason why, and it's because I have been so horribly ashamed of my weight for the longest time. And now I'm at the point that I don't care, because the number on the scale doesn't matter to me as much as me trying to get healthy, which is what I'm doing right now. And I'm loving this journey. I'm really actually loving this journey. And on this journey, I have actually lost 10 pounds. And on my app, you'll see that it says 9.4 pounds. However, I had calculated when I was already I had already lost a pound before I calculated it. So it's about 10 pounds that I've lost in total. And I lost that within like 3 weeks. And I was working out, but not as much. I was still doing some workout, but not as much as I was. And I was actually enjoying what I was eating, and that was not my focus. I only went on the scale because I did want to see, like, did this have any kind of impact on my weight? Because I knew how I was feeling on the inside. I wanted to know if there was any effects on the outside, and there definitely was, and I feel great. As I said, really working on myself from the inside out and really trying to ask myself the tough questions about how I got there. I'm not going to say my weight at this moment in time, how much I was or how much I am right now, because I will be doing a video talking about all of that, about where I started and how I felt at that time and why I was so ashamed, and where I am now. And I'm not at this point where I'm like, yeah, like totally thrilled about my size or my weight, but I am at a point where I'm like, you know what, that's just what it is. But I am trying to get healthy, and even if I stayed this same size, and even if I stayed this same weight, as long as I know that I am eating foods that are nourishing to my body and that are good for me, I could care less. But I do know that with me focusing on my health, that the weight loss will come. So guys, that is the end of this video. I just wanted to share that with you guys. I thank you so much again, as I said, for all of your support, and do look forward to my upcoming videos. In one of them, as I said, I will be telling you guys about where I started on this journey. Hint, hint, it will be called My 300-Pound Life. So tune in for that. And also I will be telling you where I am now, and also doing a lot of what I eat in a day videos to show you guys basically the kind of foods that I am eating right now, and as I said, that are delicious and healthy at the same time. So again guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I love you all, and have a great day.